Warning, if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
So we are joined by Mike X, and the reason we brought him on is because I'm pretty sure you've taken a lot of money off of Nick, and I wanna hear from someone who has owned Nick.
Yeah, well, you haven't been watching. He wishes. Anyways, this is the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci for Valerie, Vanna, Veronica, BRILL, and Mike X. Let's go. Mike, you made it.
Yes.
I love it. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We've been playing a lot of poker together, as Vanna had mentioned, but I don't know if it's went that way, but we will talk about that. We will get to that.
Who's the better poker player?
We'll talk about that as well.
That's right. Who knows? But I will tell you this. A lot of people love watching you play. Most of the people that watch our show know you. For the people that do watch the show and don't, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Who the fuck are you?
I don't think you have enough time, but
give us the
short
cursory,
version.
the macro.
Well, my name is Mike, as everybody knows,
Yes.
and my last name is not X.
Correct.
That's for sure. I'm Persian. I'm Iranian, and that's where I was born. When I was a teenager, I moved to Germany. I attended high school in Germany.
Yeah.
Lived there almost 6 years, and then moved to Los Angeles, joined my parents. My dad had started a business a few years prior to that here, and then we were together as a family. And
was it a clothing business like you have now, and manufacturing of?
Yeah, it's been a family business. My grandfather started the textile manufacturing operations in 1940.
In Los Angeles?
No, in Iran.
Iran, okay.
Yeah, and
sorry, in 1940, I interrupted you.
I think 1945, 1946, that was the first year, because I found a little letter. It was a loan document that I found, and they had a date on it. And they received a loan from a manufacturing, agricultural bank for today's money. I think it was probably $20, and to be paid in 2 payments 6 months apart.
Right.
And so I kept that and translated it and framed it, because it was just one of those amazing mementos that shows how things started. They started in 1946, and my dad was the oldest child, so he was going to school at night and working, helping my grandfather during the day. And he worked all his life, and he's still around, still comes to work probably once a week. And that's kind of was my story as well. I moved to Los Angeles and started going to college, working full time.
What did you take in college?
I started with business administration, and after a year I dropped out because during the day I was negotiating $1 million contracts, and at night I was going to school and handing my homework, or assignment, and it was not complete. So it really didn't make sense to me. And so I dropped out and was working really, it was my early 20s. It was the boom time in textile manufacturing in the West Coast of the United States. And I started working. 9-10 years later, I went back to college. I went to FIDM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, got my degree there, still while I was working full time. And so eventually I made it back and I finished it. But yeah, that's how the whole thing started.
Yeah, and you want a little bit of information that would be interesting, I think, to
Obviously.
you mostly.
Yeah.
I'm wearing his underwear.
Okay. Disclaimer. He purchased it. It's his underwear made by me.
We don't need an explanation.
I think she wants to leave it at that, right?
Yeah, I think we all know what's going on here.
You want to know something more interesting?
This is
for
an
the fans?
announcement.
Is Mike's wearing your underwear? No.
What?
I'm just wearing the underwear that I purchased out of Mike's company. They're so nice.
Appreciate it.
It feels so good.
Yeah, are they comfortable? Are they
my
doing
gosh,
it for you?
It's so good.
So you sell underwear, and what else do you sell?
What does your company do, Mike?
So
Your socks too, by the way. Swear, I have your socks on.
right.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
No one cares about the socks. They care
No,
about
it's the
them.
underwear. Yeah.
So there's two parts to our work. I design and manufacture apparel. I work with large brands and retailers, and we custom manufacture their products for them, from concept, idea on paper, developing the fiber, the fabric, samples, fitting, colors, embellishment.
What's the good fiber balance for Nick's underwear?
Okay.
A little bit of cotton and polyester, I'm assuming.
So it's a personal choice. There is no ideal, or because everybody likes different things. The most common undergarment, intimate wear, being boxer briefs, boxers, bikinis for ladies, is a majority cotton, a little bit of spandex, and the spandex keeps the shape and also makes the garment last a little bit longer. So probably I would say cotton spandex blend is the most popular. On top of that, cotton is breathable. It keeps you cool. It absorbs the moisture. So that's most common. There's also performance fiber, what we call it. Polyester and nylon with spandex. Some people prefer that. I personally can wear it myself.
It's more for like athletic kind of gear.
It's a preference, but yeah, a lot of athletic gear is.
Nick doesn't need that. Yeah.
And they have antimicrobial characteristics to them, and some other things that it's done. But
if you want to make your package look bigger and you want to air out your nuts, call Mike X.
Yeah.
I've never been so intrigued to talk about men's underwear before.
I mean, I'm just breaking it down in layman's terms, but go on, Mike.
Yeah, so that's besides making your balls feel better.
I really want that.
Yes, I'd be
probably
happily
have a set.
Yeah,
I do.
happily give you some samples to wear.
This is going to be an hour-long discussion.
Yeah.
So we do design and manufacturing, product development and manufacturing for brands and retailers. I also design my own collection. The brand is called BGREEN, the letter B in the word green. BGREEN.com is the website. By the time this is aired, we probably have updated our website with all the new products that has been in pipeline for months right now. And so the collection is about, we call it organic basic essentials, right? All the essential pieces of clothes that you wear. It's your undergarments, it's like layers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, right?
His black t-shirts are amazing. I ordered 20.
I'm not surprised.
And then 14 on top of that later. I don't know why, but who am I to say?
You sent him sleeves too?
Yeah. Hey, as soon as you come out with a sleeveless brand, hit me.
Well, if you're buying as much as you've been buying.
I know. You look at my closet, Mike. I went in my closet and I just had so many. I just got rid of all this stuff, and I literally have black T-shirts from Mike. And I go in and I go, but it doesn't matter because they're all the same.
Yeah, interesting fact. Just about like having a closet like that. So Obama, one of the things that he talked about in one of his interviews, President Obama.
What other Obama is there that we could reference?
Just in case for some viewers.
I used to play with an Obama at the Commerce Casino. That was his name. I don't know.
So what he had done, as the president of the United States, leader of the free world, he has to make so many decisions. So his clothing or his fashion was not something he wanted to spend any more time. So he had somebody set up for him colors of suits with shirts and ties that all go together regardless of which combinations you take. So if you take a navy, for example, jacket, any of the shirts will go with that, and any of the ties will go with that. So he would just grab one on one, and he was done deciding in 10 seconds. Like Nick, who might take half an hour to decide which black T-shirt he wants to wear.
I'm stumped generally, but it always works out. Now, Mike, you do some other things that so you don't have to make decisions. What are they? You run it once. You've told me that you only run it once, so you have one less decision to make in poker.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Yes, who was I talking yesterday about this? Another poker player. But long story short, it's one of those things that, look, I am the type of person who's like, well, what if? What if this happened? Would have been better. What if I said this? And I also have realized watching the stream, because I was a fan way before I started playing on it. Some people, when it's to their advantage, they like to run it twice or once, for that matter. And if it's not, if they're behind or drawing, and some people are the other way around, and it's just, I didn't want to have any of that. It's simplest way. Look, most places you can, the games I played, small stake, you don't even have the option. So why even bother? So it's one of those things that I decided, and I have to stick to it. There are times that I really want to run it twice.
Right.
But then once that door is open, I can never close it. So
yeah, I like the fact that you're not taking advantage of that, where you decide to just run it once and it's every time, even if it's a disadvantage for you. That shows a lot about your ethics in the game. That's good.
I appreciate that.
So I wanted to get back to this like optimization technique, because like Steve Jobs and I believe Zuckerberg.
No, it's Zuckerberg.
It's Zuckerberg. Yeah. They also are the same way. They like have minimal wardrobes and they just go in and out. But do you have you're getting the Knit Tucci brand, right, with a sleeveless, oversized for the big belly?
Look,
well, that's why I have oversized underwear.
You set me up really well. I was thinking of some smart response to come up with. Yes, the short answer is yes. Well, look, he's been a friend. He has a big head. I don't want to talk. I don't want to butter him up more than.
Let's not butter him up.
He knows that because of the underwear I wear. Go on.
I know you because I'm a fan of the show, and I'm really happy to meet you. And I think like the audience not only loves to watch you play, but now would like to get to know who you are and get to know your thoughts while you're playing in the game. So I'm curious, like, who you find to be your own most difficult opponent when you're playing on Hustler Live.
You talking about other opponents?
Yeah. Like who you struggle with, who every time you see them, you're like, oh, I can't, I would love to run it twice against this person because I just can't beat them. Or like, they're just always kind of getting in your way.
I don't want to sound egoistical, but here's the reality. I'm my worst enemy.
As we all are.
I am my own worst enemy. Meaning, this is, I have a whole, business background in making decisions for millions of dollars, investments and opportunities. I don't care how good you are at poker. You still have to have the right cards, and you still have to have the right moves. Without cards and without hitting something, you can't win.
Right.
So having said that, there are players that are just, I am in awe of, if you ask me to rank some players that I've personally played against with, probably Garrett and Andy on top of the list, right? They have this keen understanding of every different situation, what goes on, and they make really smart moves in taking advantage of those situations. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. But it's one of those old cliches saying that they're playing the player, not the cards, right? They realize that the opponent's hand is at best suspect or not as very strong. And they know the sizing and they know the timing of a move that it leaves me in awe. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is just, and they're 90% right, they're never 100% right. You've seen them bluff into the nut hand. So it's not like they're gods, but they're so successful at such a high level that I look up to them as far as gaming is concerned. There are so many other amazing players, right? I mean, look, a young and upcoming Mariano, the vlogger, aka Mariano, as Nick calls him, the poor guy.
Poor guy.
Rampage played with him a couple of hands. Mariano probably half a dozen times. they're amazing. You know, on our stream, there's not a single fish, even though jokingly we call each other, oh, fish or big fish or the tuna. They're all way above average. They're good to great, literally.
Who's the tuna?
If you find if you find one, you show me, because I haven't seen one.
I haven't heard anyone get called a tuna yet.
And then so there, it was last Thursday when they announced the lineup, and Doug Polk is coming to the show, and my name was there, and people who know poker a lot better than I do reached out and said, look, Doug is one of the best. He's one of the smartest players out there, right? So don't pull a shenanigan on him or try to pull a big bluff. Just play your game in solid, and you should be good, you know? And I've met him for the first time. He's genuinely a nice guy. Besides that, he played amazing. And once I watched actually what he played and how he played it, yeah, he got lucky as well. You know, he hits a gut shot against trips from Wesley and for a lot of money. But again, they play at a level that like I said, I wish and I'm aiming one day hopefully to get there. One last person came to mind, Mars, Tony Shen. He's amazing. I mean, he's kind of under the radar. He's a quiet guy, and people don't talk about him. I know him personally. He's a friend of mine, but man, he's a quiet assassin. He reads you well, so he doesn't pay you off easily. At the same time, he has no problem pulling triple bluff, with nothing, literally, and keeping a very straight face. So he's one of those quiet. Look, you got to mention Wesley in that conversation. The Wesley of today is not the Wesley of 3 or 4 months ago. I played with him so many sessions, and he has gotten infinitely better. You got to say that. He plays really well. He picks his spots to bluff, and a lot of times, he still has that image. I think it's kind of a memory of Lucy, aggressive guy. But he's playing very solid.
He's very sharp too. We interviewed him. Great guy. Can I just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything to ask about that.
Oh, I forgot I was here. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.
So when you came in here, I was briefly talking to you, and you said before you played on Hustler Live, you were on the floor on Fridays, and you were looking and watching them play, and you were like, hey, maybe I could do that. Tell me about that, how you first started playing on Hustler.
Right. Yeah, I mentioned to you I was a fan way before I started playing on the show. And the short of it is, just to give you a little history of how I got in poker, I learned the game and I was probably in the early 20s. A friend of mine sat me down and said, look, here are the hands and here's the basic strategy.
And you learned Hold'em?
Hold'em, yeah.
You were playing Hold'em back then? Because I think of like people, when they first start learning, they're playing like stud, or like if you're in your 20s, like I know you're 32, but like, you know what I mean? Like Hold'em wasn't the most popular game.
Yeah, well, the guy who taught me the game, he was actually a really good player. He made it.
This is in Germany?
No. This was here. This was here
in LA,
in Los Angeles, and he made it. I think he was 7th or 8th in one of the World Series of Poker, main events. So he was really good. We were good friends, and he would always go to casino, and I love playing cards in any game. Basically, I just love the competition and the learning and so on. And so he sat me down and he goes, look, these are the rankings, here's the basic strategy, any Broadway cards, big cards, and any suitor connectors you call, otherwise you fold. So I remember it vividly. It was in Commerce Casino, 1-2 limit, change $100.
I'm sorry, but 1-2 limit just sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, like, it was a nerve-wracking. It was a nerve-wracking.
And you can't beat the rake.
He only taught you call and fold?
Yeah.
You don't know the limp strategy?
Yeah.
No raising yet? You weren't ready for it?
There's a rule
came
on
later.
Later, yeah.
I learned that there's a thing is So
Remember the old casinos that had the rules like no check raising and stuff? You'd see it on the wall.
Check raising. It's a tad aggressive.
yeah.
It's microaggression.
So I think I played 90% of the hands dealt, you know, and it took about 50 minutes and I lost my $100 and I couldn't wait to come back. I'm like, oh man, I gotta learn this.
Can't wait to lose more money.
I saw somebody winning $30 in one pot. Like it was amazing to me.
And this is while you're making $1 million deals?
Yeah. But I mean, you asked about a fish. I truly was a fish, you know. I saw a 6-10 diamond. I'm like, they're suited and connected. So
Yeah, 6 and 10, they're totally connected.
yeah, and I should play, right?
You have 2 quad draws too, you
There
know?
you go. And so I then slowly graduated to 2-4, 3-6 limit. It was around 2007, 2008. ESPN started showing poker on TV.
Yeah.
World Series of Poker, Chris Moneymaker, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, can you win $8 million in this thing? And so I was hooked, right? It's one of those like dreaming, hey, I want to get better at this thing. And I tell you, for many years, I maybe played 5 to 10 times a year. Like, that's how infrequently I was playing. That was basically it, you know. Until about 4 years ago, I think the first time in my life I saw a poker vlog on YouTube. It's like, wow. And so now you could be there without being there and risking your money. And I started understanding the whole science behind the game, right? The GTO and the solvers and hey, the spots, the positions have a name. You know, I didn't know what a cutoff was, or, you know, or under the gun was. I mean, and then bet sizing and you know, managing your money. I mean, these guys were talking about this, right? And it was like taking a lesson. And
Shit, at this point, you're just thinking call fold. So this is a whole new
Yeah, tell
world.
us when you started raising.
See, I to this day, I try to chase people when I have the best hand, which is not, you know, of course I realize it's not the best strategy, but that's really what it was. And I think I am subscribed to every vlogger that is out there. You know,
Who's your favorite vlogger? Because I love the poker vloggers so much.
So the one I've seen most sessions from is probably Brad Owen, right?
Brad Owen.
And then at the same time, you know, Andrew Nemi had because, you know, his blog started a little earlier. And then I loved watching Doug Polk's vlog when he was discussing a hand for 10 minutes, you know, a single move. And he would say, it's really not a good move to raise here, but if you raise is also okay. So it would actually confuse me and say, okay, you explain for 10 minutes why it's not a good move, but at the same time, if you do, it's okay as well. So, but I religiously watched basically all of them, and I would learn things, right? And I would take those lessons whenever I played, and it immediately worked, right? And I was hooked, right? There are things that I didn't even know existed that you're supposed to do. I'd heard the position is important, never knew why.
Well, every girl's different.
Well, that's a whole different.
I was just gonna hold that until you figured it out, bro. You were not getting an expression movement from me until that set in. I watched your wheel spin for 10 seconds.
I was trying to make this a proper interview, but we have a 14-year-old child at the table who is bothering us. I'm sorry.
No problem. I understand. I was frozen for a second as well. So we all agree position is important,
That was
right?
really good timing. What are you doing? That was really awkward. Okay.
Oh,
there we
sorry.
go.
You know,
I was saying we all agree position is important.
I think we all agree.
We all agree to that. Yeah. So yeah, and that's really what it was. I started playing, and I mostly won because I'd started with $5,000, and this is my playing money. I don't touch it. after a while, it was like $11,000-$12,000 in there. I'm like, obviously I'm winning, right? Because I'm not touching this money. By the way, my wife gets 20% of all my winnings. She does not participate in any of the losing.
She's a good manager.
Yes, she is.
Sounds like a shitty divorce lawyer she's caught. You know what? 20%? What are you talking about?
So
You need 50.
there's an update to that story as well. I'll tell you. So yeah, the only reason I started playing poker regularly was LA traffic. So after pandemic, and I'm being serious. After pandemic, the traffic was just horrible, right? Everybody was on the street. It would take me an hour and a half, 45 minutes to get home. My factory offices are 10 minutes from Hustler. So one Friday, I'm like, I'm not going to sit another hour and a half. Just going to go there, eat something, play some cards, wait for traffic to come to die down, and go home.
And traffic always dies down at like 3 a.m.
No, it's 10.
I'm joking. Because you never showed up.
And then you can have.
Okay, I'm done with the jokes. Okay.
Yeah, you're on one today.
Yeah.
Are you going to throw in a steamed vegetables and fish?
I want to
joke?
participate.
I know your name's there, but let our guest have a little bit of time.
I can't help myself.
I know. I told you.
So yeah,
Someone give him some Benadryl.
I
neti pot.
I start playing every Friday, almost
I meant to
regularly.
make you sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
No
Mike
problem.
X.
Yeah, you started playing Fridays regularly, and that time it coincided with the start of the show. So I'm seeing the guys up there, on the platform playing. It's shown on the screens, right? And I'm playing here. I decided to take down, the dates and the amounts, and I think I played 18 sessions, 18 Fridays, and I had 4 losing sessions and 14 winning sessions. A couple of hundred to a couple of thousand and so on.
Oh, you should have stayed down there. Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know. Alley-oops? I mean, what am I supposed to do with an alley-oop?
You take
What am I supposed
some
to-
chocolate.
What am I
before-
supposed to do with an alley-oop? You dunk. Go.
I'm sorry.
Fuck, I don't
And
know.
you're drinking from a beer pong mug. Like you're
Hey,
just
look,
like
I have Hustler Casino water,
Nice.
Larry Flint's ashes in your cup. I don't know.
Sorry, Mike. Go on. So you had
Mike, this is the most ridiculous we've
4
ever
losses
gotten.
out of 18 wins.
Yeah,
Please tell us more.
And I'm like, okay, it's time, to step up, basically, right? And it was always a dream to play on a stream, right? I never played anything close to that. The biggest buy-in I ever had was $2,500, right? This guy walks past the table and get up and say, hey, my name is Mike, and whatever. And he was very cordial, and I said, hey, I want to play on the stream. And he's like, oh, let me introduce you to Ryan, my partner. He goes, gets Ryan, and we connect, and told Ryan exactly what I do, and I am new, and he's like, yeah, if you want, I'll get you on the show. And 2 weeks later, I got a call or text, he never calls, from Ryan, and said, look, do you want to play this? And yeah, the rest is history. I started playing on the stream from 5-5 game to, God knows, buying tens of thousands of dollars and few bullets, and that's how the whole thing started.
So how nervous were you the very first time you played on there?
Oh boy. The first time, I probably will never forget for the rest of my life. I sit on a table, and the first half an hour, it truly feels like you're on a movie set. This is not real. Like, people are going through the motions, and I'm still like, I'm nervous. I'm just trying to just go along and don't make a fool of myself.
You're folding, you're calling.
Yeah.
You're doing your best.
And I won a small hand, right? I bet something. I think I raised one time, and boom, somebody, after the flop, I c-bet, and somebody, it was like, oh, okay, you know what? It's like poker. Calm down. Just do your thing. I survived the session, card debt. And
Oh, I know about that. That was my first time on Hustler too.
yeah. And then
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually.
yeah, you have a sailor mod on you.
Listen, you mind your own. We're talking about you right now. Got to keep these guys in line.
So I'm looking. It is almost 9 o'clock. It's like, okay, stream's gonna be over. I'm almost even or about even, perfect. No big damage. I didn't make like my fear was not losing my buying, which was 10K. My fear was I am so average as far as my playing skills are concerned. Now the whole world is watching me, and you can see that on the floor. Nobody sees you how bad you play, So I look down, it's pocket aces, and I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, oh, okay, finally I got big pair. 3-bet, only victor is in hand. He calls. Flop is 10-9 deuce. All right, fantastic. C-bet, like 24K, 3K, something like that. He calls. Another blank comes. I go all in because I had basically a pot-sized bet. And he calls, and he flops over pocket 10. So he flopped a set against my pocket aces, and boom, guys, okay, stream is over. And I was sitting there, like...
Everyone gets up and takes your money away.
And now he's 4 out of 19, and what are you going to do?
Yeah. So, and after a couple of minutes, my first thought was, I want to be back. I want revenge, I want to do this. So yeah, it was a great experience in that you had to grow up really quickly. There's no time to, either you embrace it, it's like life. Poker is an amazing analogy for life. Either you embrace it or you got to get off. There's no between.
After you started playing, you decided to go into the lab a little bit at some point, right? And start like training or studying. Was that the first time you ever had done that?
Yes. Like I don't know if you consider watching hours and hours of other people playing and listening and taking notes or studying. Mm-hmm. That's what I've always done because again, I hate losing. Yeah, it's just not in general. Like any game we play, I just can't stand losing. I don't want to be the fish, and so. I always want to improve. That's just in whatever I do. My whole life philosophy is if you do something, make it count. Otherwise, why bother? I mean, there's so many times we do something kind of, nonchalant, half-assed. Like, what's the point? Just don't do it, right? And if you do it at least at a certain quality and make it, contribute something, right? And make something. And so I started that, and then I tried a couple of different coaches, basically. And there is no guide, like there is no specific curriculum for poker coaching.
You had coaching, you say?
Yeah. I work with a couple of different guys, and
can you tell us who your coaches are?
I rather not, because I don't know if I have no problem. I don't know if they want to their name out there.
Coaches are weird that way. They want to be really quiet.
How do they market if nobody knows?
Well, because I think they want to market if their students are doing well. But there's some students doesn't matter the coach.
They probably
They're just
wouldn't
not
want
gonna
you to say who they are then.
Yeah, especially if you suck. I'm sure they don't want their name to be associated with you. It's like you're a horrible player,
Not all of them want to take on a bunch of students either, right? They're hourly, it's a lot of work to take on students.
Yeah.
So I work with somebody right now, and I really enjoy working with them. They're just great person, and I think it works for me. I think poker coaching is so individual. Like what would work for me might not work for you because everybody's style is different, right?
Can you give a message to your coach? Tell him thank you for the ace king shove on the flop Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I
appreciate it.
We haven't reviewed that hand. Yeah, I had ace king suited. He called my 3-bet with pocket 7 and flopped the set. He's talking about that.
Got me healthy. I was stuck.
Yeah.
Very results oriented.
You were down that day, right? Not money wise, just there was so much going on, right?
Yeah.
And look, as a friend, hey,
as a friend, you got to do.
We all have to pander to him. We all have to tell him that he's good and stuff. Yes. So I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fair.
It's
my show.
To tell you the truth, my heads up winning against them, it's horrible record. Probably is 2-8. Like 2 wins and 8 losses.
He
So-
sacrifices a goat before every session. That's why. You mean you got to step your game up.
Right.
He's doing
right.
something.
Something. Yeah.
Please don't interrupt a man when he's talking about how much I beat him. Go.
Oh,
What else do you have to say?
Did I say Vertucci is one of my
No.
Idols?
who I
No,
look
you didn't
up?
mention me in your list. It's okay though. It's okay. 6 out of 8 is good.
Yeah.
So you've been studying. How long have you been studying? Like, how long have you had a coach?
On and off, I had coaches, at a point. I think for the past, I want to say 2 months, I do a session once a week, just kind of reviewing hands of what's going on. But more importantly, situational poker, right? I am, with all the, math and probabilities that are out there, right? GTO and solver. What they all assume is that your opponent will act a certain way.
Right.
They don't have Francisco, for example, sitting next to you as your opponent, because again, if he's tilted, he's gonna call and bet. Doesn't matter what you do, you can't get him off of the hand. So,
Yeah, stuck Francisco's pretty sticky.
yeah, and most of us are like that, right? And so we don't play always the same way. And so when you have the opportunity to play against the same group of people or similar group of people all the time, you got to take into account their tendencies, right? He is called Vertucci for nothing, right? They know most of the time he has probably either an amazing draw or ready-made hand. So, there is...
He doesn't have a balanced range. I know.
Not true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bluffs and it works, and sometimes it bluffs and gives 70K to Rampage,
yeah.
and it becomes a video. Like, we understand it's like part of the game, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
And speaking of Francisco, this came off his cock.
Yeah.
He brought in his rooster. His rooster. We did a show. I held his rooster the whole show.
I heard that his name. What's the newest one?
Guess what his cock's name is?
Nick. So, sorry. Go on. You just made me think of him.
He also has a cock named Andy, and then his cock named Garrett died.
No. That's
It did.
the
It
timing.
did.
The timing.
Is it
Really bad timing on that joke.
is it art imitating life? I don't know.
Yeah. Cocks don't lie.
I mean, it's just the honest truth.
Right.
Yeah, one of his chickens died.
Yeah. So
Chickens. It's a rooster.
What's the same? I mean, a
the same
rooster
thing.
is a chicken, right?
Yeah, they both lay eggs.
No, a rooster is a type of chicken, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I
'Cause,
don't
like,
know.
a chicken is a general term.
Isn't
and then
rooster the male?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rooster's the male.
Yeah. So,
But, like-
no eggs.
No eggs. No eggs.
We call him yaika.
Okay.
No yaika.
No, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, and Wesley, he's my coach. Every time I play
your
something
coach?
wong, he would tell me.
Every time you play Hannigan,
Oh, yeah,
he'll tell you what you did
Wesley
wrong.
will-
He would tell me exactly what Thursday we played, right? And I raised him, and he asked me after the hand, what'd you have? I told him, I go, why are you raising? You should just call. I'm like, you're right, actually. Next time I call.
Wesley's the
But
number
thanks for
one
the
free
bot.
coach. Yeah.
He doesn't charge.
He doesn't need money, though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why.
Hey, Mike, what would you say from the time when you were it's double question, but same question. So from the time when you were 4 losses out of 18, what were your strengths and weaknesses? And today, being in the lab and more experience, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Just in general, like, what do you see about yourself? Or if you want, just make it about today. You have strengths and weaknesses in a poker game?
Right. Oops.
It's all right.
All right. So before I started really paying high stakes, everything was a weakness. I mean, I'm telling you,
That's
I didn't
fair,
even know. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know if it's right for me to even list my strengths. I let others judge
No,
that
I think
easily.
because you're on a show,
Yeah.
you can talk about it without looking like you're bragging.
Okay. Well, there's nothing to brag. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, you're saying
Here's-
it's better because you don't
Well,
have anything.
let's do it like this.
Yeah, if you don't have anything, just go with your
Let's
weaknesses.
do it like this. Let's talk about Mike X compared to Mike X 3 years ago.
That's fair. That's so.
Fuck.
One of the things I'm continuously working on is eliminating mistakes. Remember, I was saying I think I'm my own worst enemy.
Right.
I was not being facetious.
Well,
It's
we
just-
all are. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
common-
I look at how I play certain hands in situations. Like Jesus Christ. I mean, even I know I did it wrong. I don't even need help to figure that one out, right? And cleaning up the mistakes is the lowest hanging fruit, right? Immediately you get results. The less mistakes you make, the less bleeding or losses you have. So that's something I'm continuously working on. I am really comfortable with numbers. I'm a number guy, right? Math is my strength. So statistics, odds calculation, it's just instant, right? So I'm very comfortable with that. And I think probably the one thing that I'm keep getting better and better at it. I was a completely instinctive kind of a reactionary kind of a player, right? You did something, just I reacted to it. I've really practicing to slow down, to go through some sort of a process in my head of, why am I doing this even? Sometimes because you ask me, why'd you bet in here? I couldn't answer you, honestly. And I've gotten so much better in all the things that they teach you basically in any training. That look, you have to have a plan. You want to get value from a worse hand. You want a better hand to fold. Like if that's not what you're achieving on the basic level, why are you doing that?
So one of your weaknesses was you weren't using math enough. You were using just instincts.
Exactly. It was purely instinctual.
It wasn't fundamentals.
Exactly. And slowly, I'm really learning to make this a practice, right? Just go through some progression in my head and then try to make the best decision.
Well, the good news? The good news is that most players can work on fundamentals in math, but not every player can work on instincts. So if you by nature have good instincts, you're ahead of the game because you can sharpen up fundamentals.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
My instincts are usually 90% right. A lot of times I know, I can sense it that this is a bluff, right? Simply. But again, it will be sometimes I think I want to put my money all the time behind my instinct. I still do. And sometimes it's so fun when you have the right read and your read is right. One thing I can tell you, it's kind of interesting. Maybe it's a strength, and that is sometimes I'm not sure what to do. And I do some unconventional moves. Intentionally unconventional. Sometimes it's just, again, instinctively. And so people get really confused sometimes playing against me. They're like, why is he doing that? And sometimes I do it. Bart Hansen made a video of one of these moves that I made. That one was not, it was intentional. We had talked about it with the coach literally a few hours before. The move was, it was a three-way pot. It was between me, him, and I think Garrett, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. It was a third person for sure in there, right? I think a 4-bet with pocket tens.
Okay.
Bart had queens. Somebody else had something else. And the flop, I completely missed, right? Check to me. I bet.
Was it missed with high cards or missed low cards?
No, there was a king on the board.
Okay, got it.
Right.
So that's really missing because your tens are
yeah, my tens are dead. Bart's queens are dead, right? In a sense. So 2 checks to me, and I'm like, I have. We were going over GTO hands, and he was telling me, look, this is one of the crazy GTO moves. When something like this happens, similar situation, bet 3 times the pot, right? And this is a really high percentage move. Of course, I didn't have the balls to bet 3 times the pot. The pot was already like, I think it was $8,000 3-way action plus. It was like $26,000 pot. But $8,000 or $10,000 a bet, and they both kind of looked like and then they folded, right?
Yeah.
And Bart was so confused, I guess, if you like, he made a whole video about this thing that, this moves and so on. Sometimes though I do those things, and it looks like it works into my benefit, because sometimes I'm not sure what I'm doing. It's like in the instinct, and sometimes it's planned, and right. I'm not, if I don't know, how do you expect to know what I'm doing? So it has worked.
What a strength that is. That's one of your strengths. Absolutely. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, how should anyone else?
Exactly. So I'll take that as a strength. Yeah, put that in the column.
Sure.
That's called a balanced range.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing there.
Yeah. Please.
No. Go ahead.
Please, no. So, how about poker idols growing into the poker community? Who is like, oh shit, man, that is just like, that's the dude or the gal?
I'm not an idol person in a sense.
Who did you admire the most in their poker game? That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I was about to say, people at any profession, this is just kind of my take on things. When you do something at the really high level, I just admire you. Doesn't matter what profession it is,
right.
And doesn't matter who you are and where you are. It's just, doing something at the really high quality, high level, just, I am in awe of that, and I am a fan, and I'm a supporter.
Like content creators on YouTube, even if it's like flower arrangement or whatever, making food, if they're very passionate about it and they're meticulous and intentional, it is very cool to watch anyone be passionate about things. Yeah.
One of the things I save is, how you cut a melon into a whole flower and present it on the table. I love that. That's fantastic. Anything creative, I enjoy. From painting to design to color to graphic to you name it, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. So different times, right? There was a time Tom Dwan would pull this unbelievable bluffs and moves. This is like 10, 12 years ago, right? Phil Ivey, that was on my bucket list to one day to play with him,
right?
Well, I played in that infamous day, and I became accidentally famous because of that. I mean,
sure.
Most people didn't know I play poker because it's not something. I'm a private person to begin with. I don't go announce around the world what I do. And I had people, from friends and family to people from years ago to people with professional associations that, work with. Like
oh shit, that's Mike.
Is that you or is it Photoshop? I'm just like, yeah, it's me. It's like, oh man, great, fantastic. I didn't know you. Yeah, and it's the who I admire changes or has evolved, because again, different times. Like
totally.
Some people are online, like right now, after seeing Doug Polk and I always admire Garrett and Andy for level of their play. I joke around with them on the table. I was saying, guys should be banned because. For no other reason that you're just too good,
And when Andy starts winning, he's really going to be something to deal with. I'll tell you. Talk about way up here.
Don't talk about Andy that way.
I know. I'm sorry. No, are you guys engaged yet?
Yes. I'm having his fourth child.
That's right. Okay, good. Yeah. 1 with you, 3. Yeah, I got it. So, how about your experience on Hustle? Has it changed your life in the sense that, I could say for me, speaking for me, meeting with you guys on a few times a week and playing, what has been your experience with the stream? Is it something you've enjoyed?
You're happy you met us and played?
No, he's saying the opposite. He really can't stand you.
I'm happy I met you. Okay? The other thing is just I'm dealing with it.
So look, the short answer is playing at Hustlers, the stream, Hustler stream, has been nothing short of just positive, right? I could never imagine this. I've met so many people because I play poker,
right.
And I play poker on a platform that it's just
massive.
People see and the reach. The number of friends and meaningful relationships and friendships I've made because of this. Because I happen to be there, not just poker player, non-poker player, but you get to know them because of that. People reaching out, having conversations with me about all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with poker, but again, they get to know me through this. it's been nothing short of amazing.
Who's been your biggest supporter when you've been going through variants?
See this guy?
Setup question. Go ahead, though. I mean, please don't let us get in your way.
So look,
He's on one today. I don't know what he took on break, but he's on one.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in that bottle, but I'm drinking Hustler water.
At this point, what do I care?
So
He's drinking Hustler water too.
no, one of the things, Nick, I don't care what other people think about you. I
That's
really
right.
like you, right?
Yeah, I
So,
take a beating. Go ahead.
I gotta say this. Most people know Nick from his basically persona, what they see out there, and I think you and I have connected just by accident, a whole different level. And
Yeah.
I've reached out to you. Okay, don't feel bad. It's okay. I'm
No.
gonna talk
I
good
want to
about
know what
you.
I want to know what his persona is, because so many people are shocked because they
Sure.
honestly
So-
have they think Nick is something completely different than what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would my persona be in your perception? That's a serious question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you actually
finish.
what. Yeah. So I've reached out to you. And correct me if I'm wrong. Any
No,
of
it's
this.
okay, of
I
course.
reached out to you for advice.
Yeah.
I reached out to you for questions. And you've been nothing but forthcoming and helpful. You reached out to me at times I didn't even ask. You did it on your own because you knew what I was going through. And it was the first time I was playing was Friday night, the big game, right? I sit down with 20K, and within an hour and a half, I have a $145,000 stack. So I'm up 120 plus K. And I'm on cloud 9, and you can imagine. And these are all the big guys, Garrett and all the big guys. And it starts with one hand. I lose that hand, and it just goes down to the end of the stream. So at the end, I think I was plus $800. So from being up 120K.
that's so rough.
I think I was
Right.
commentating, so I got to watch it I just got to watch it happen right in front of me.
hand by hand. And so I get home and I'm starting questioning everything, right? I mean, should I even do this? And what the hell's going on? What's wrong with me? Maybe I'm not made for this thing. And I am really down. I'm my own biggest critic. And the phone rings. It's almost midnight. And who's on the phone? I knew Tucci. And, in a super nice way, he shared he felt what I was feeling. And, he reached out to just say, look, the short of it was, you'll be okay. This is part of this thing. This is how you're going to feel, and so on and so forth. And yeah, and I really appreciate it. And I told him that. And the next day I sent him a text saying how much it meant to me. And so
Still charge me for my underwear. But that's
you get a discount.
it's okay.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing is, like I said, I've made really close friendships. Nick, I'm happy to mention because there's show other people, to be left for a different time. But yeah, it's been a great experience.
Yeah. What would you say? What is the reason you think? Valerie could jump in. What is the reason you think I take heat? What is the kind of persona you think the public gets of me before they get to know me? Be honest.
I think you come across as brash, confidence on the edge of cocky,
Right.
I think you said to be honest, right?
I want you
So
to be. I want you to be candid. I don't even care how bad it sounds.
No,
please.
I'm telling you.
No,
the
this
truth.
is what makes good radio,
Yeah.
baby, or whatever the fuck we're doing.
So, you're always ready to respond. Like somebody jokes with you, you have a better one, you have better comeback, and so on, right? So it seems like people who don't know you close enough, they're like, I don't know, he rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not even sure. Like
That's true.
You're never. You joke around. Sometimes you push the envelope and whatever.
Yeah, right.
But people don't understand the dynamic goes around the table. You
Right.
know, they only see what's said on the stream. What they don't see is all the joking around, horsing around that you're doing.
Yeah.
Besides it, so they're like, "Oh, he grabbed his so and so's card and looked at it. I mean, that's very unprofessional." You're like, okay, whatever, sure, So again, not everybody sees the whole thing. They see parts of it. Of course, this is the age of video clips, and so they see that thing, and you're you, and you don't excuse it. You don't, you're exactly you, and people don't get that necessarily. So somebody can truly be themselves and be who they are and be comfortable with it, right? And so I think that's really it. There's really nothing like some people. Look, we have a buddy of our, Nick Airball, right? He has his persona, right? And some people really enjoy that and some people don't, right?
Sure.
You don't have high highs and low lows. You have your range, but my experience has been nothing but, hey, I'm really glad I met you. I'm glad you're my friend, and
yeah. Well, the same for the show and me myself. You've been a great addition to the show. You've been nothing but amazing to all the players participating in our Saturday games, bringing food. I bring food. It's been a fun ride.
We need to invite Valerie to the Saturday games. There's a lot of drinking, food, fun going on.
I want to be put in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to put me in the game?
Sure.
I'm looking for sugar daddy.
Well, go and review the tape for the Monday game
I
and
have
then make
sugar
a decision.
and I'm a daddy, so I guess I qualify.
That's right. Vanna, anything else we have for this handsome gentleman?
No, I thought it was great. I don't want to like.
Yeah.
I think it was perfect.
I do too. And Mike, seriously, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
And I swear, I really am glad that you found us and we found you. And we're going to have a lot more fun times on the felt. And just keep pushing that ace king on the flop like that, and you're always welcome.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan. It was really nice meeting you.
I
love watching you play.
I told you before, really nice meeting you in person. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate that. And let's look forward to the next big one.
I love it.
Whatever that may be.
Next time, if you could bring chickens, because Francisco brought chickens.
Yeah.
So
or maybe some underwear or something.
If you could beat that would be great.
You see, the underwear and so on, there's always one requirement. You got to take a picture and post it on social media and talk about how good it is.
Dude, I'm an after pitcher, so I have no problem.
So
and after eating a dozen donuts.
After eating 3 pizzas.
Yeah.
Anyways, I am Nick Vertucci. This is the Nick Vertucci Show with Valerie BRILL and Mike X. That'll do it. Envy out.